Hey, what's up, friends? Redwood Dog at Timworks. How y'all doing? As much as I hate to admit it, I haven't been turning enough. I just put it this way, since before I broke my back and then moved to Texas, I've been away from the lathe. I'm way out of practice in 1, recording, 2, turning. So we need to fix that. And my favorite way to improve, I found, is the best skill improving in wood turning. One of the most basic techniques that you can do, and what personally improved my skill during my first year of turning, was roughing out bowls. Okay, and I'm talking about roughing them out. I'm not talking about getting finishing cuts. I'm not talking about perfect pieces. But what it does is it lets you get practice putting the tool in the wood, getting a feel for the wood. That's another thing. When you move to from a different location, a different region of your country, the continent, whatever, the species are different, okay? And they behave different. I was turning a lot of softer maples and cherries, box elders, a lot of soft wood up in Michigan. Down here, this stuff's hard as rocks. So, and I know somebody's going to say, well, you've never turned eucalyptus or tried doing hard exotic woods. Okay, I get it. But as far as basic, you know, hickory's tough. Pecan is a hickory. It's a tough wood. Oak is tough, you know. It's a lot different than hogging through cedar, cherry, and soft maples. So, roughing out bowls. It's an excellent skill improver, and it gives you a bunch of bowls that you can later finish at a later date. And it's a good way of preserving wood. You can set this up and move forward kind of like production turning, okay? So if I was to do that, I've got 4 blanks right here. Batch work. I would drill my worm screw holes for all 4. I would rough out the outside contour and shape and the tenon on all 4. And then I would reverse and hollow all 4. I would not finish one bowl because I would have to take this chuck off, put a new chuck on, take that chuck off, put this back on 8 different times to do 4 pieces. Whereas when doing it in a batch work scenario, you're only changing your chuck twice, and it just smooths the transition over. That looks about the middle. Okay, starting off with 3 isn't bad. That's enough, more than enough that people could sit through. And 1 video's worth anyways, right, friends? All right. Let's get these guys down over here. All right, and then we lock in the spindle and give that a good turn. And then make sure to unlock your spindle. Okay, this piece has some heavy checking. I'm expecting to reduce the diameter of this piece by quite a bit. It's just part of the game when you let the wood go and untreat it and it splits and cracks. Yeah, we got a little bit of vibration there. These are left-handed push cuts. These kind of keep me more out of the line of fire. And while we're just removing the material and getting rid of a bunch of the unevenness. We're up to 900 now. We're a little bit overhung on the tool rest. This is a short tool. It's been ground down quite a bit. Let's get some of this really flat spots out here off. See what it looks like. Okay, like I said, we were going to take a lot of this away because this was checking pretty bad. I can still see a lot of checking right here. Okay? So that was the purpose of mounting it this way. One, I wanted a lot of the heartwood down in the base, and there's a little bit of pith that we can turn away, but there's still a lot of checking. I'm going to have to come in probably another ½ inch to an inch to get rid of it, which will be about what this bark is. So, I mean, we're going to turn away a lot of material. It is what it is, though. I mean, you know, we'll still get a bowl from it. We're starting to get, but this is fine. I can go over this with you guys, what I'm thinking about in terms of bowl design too, though. It looks like we're getting through most of the checking here that I was worried about. Which means I would probably rather go, I don't really want this cadmium layer in here. So I'm probably going to take off height rather than diameter, so that we could have a more shallow type everyday carry bowl, which are what I like. So it's going to be a flat bottom, shallow bowl, meant for putting in wallets, knives, change, keys, money, guns, flashlights, whatever, you know. Y'all know how I swing, so everyday carry to me is different than everyday carry for someone else. But I don't mince no words or hide nothing about it. Let's clean up the bottom, see what we're working with. It's still very uneven. These I usually just kind of aggressively chip, peel, nibble away. I'm not looking for a smooth finish. I'm looking to remove material. want to keep an eye on what that pith is doing at the bottom. Oh man, look at that tear out. Okay, I'm not, well, I'm seeing small signs of checking right in here, but that's fine. I'm using a 40/40 like a regular pull gouge. Feel something right here. Now, a little bit of bark inclusion or something. A little bit of a knot. But overall, this is going to be a really cool looking bowl, man. I think this was a good decision. So now, unfortunately, we're going to have to take it down to here. But overall, I think it's going to work. Or, if I didn't take so much down already, I could have made some weird clothes form looking thing. Oops. It's almost gone there, almost gone there. Perfect. Okay. So look, we could have probably done some of this on a bandsaw had it been square. It's not square. So I don't mind hogging away material on my lathe. You see it goes by pretty fast. You know, I haven't even sharpened this tool yet. I'm thinking I want a nice wide base for this. So what I've got is my 5-inch shark jaws. And I just have this set up pretty much for a perfect tenon. Okay? And then I would just go a little bit bigger to give it room for warping. So I'm basically going to keep this and just start my tenon right here outside this flat spot a little bit. And then that'll be good for my tenon. And that'll give it room to oval and warp as it dries. And then I'll be able to turn that oval away and get a perfect tenon to fit this chuck later. It's very important when you form your tenon on a roughed out bowl that you form it big enough to either A, turn away and return that tenon for the same chuck, or B, have a smaller chuck and jaws available that you can step down to. Alright, so I'm going to go a little bit bigger. So that was an interesting situation. Good enough. So what's happening, I think I took an hour or so break. This thing dried and moved, and that's what's going on. Or at least that's my story. That's what sounds right in my head. Okay, so we will just screw this guy off. And I just put my Tommy bar in my adapter and rest it against my tool rest, so I don't take the whole thing off. Because a lot of times if you lock the spindle, your adapters will unscrew, or your piece will unscrew from your spindle with the piece still attached. Okay, put this guy down there, get this out of the way, get this out of the way. Turn this speed down. We don't need to chuck it up there at 1,000 RPM. 500 sufficient. Lock the spindle, tighten her up. Undo your spindle. That piece is a lot more in balance. Yep, that's a good starting point. Let's see how this gouge is doing. So that's right at 900 RPMs. It doesn't want to play no more, so we'll just run with it. Pressing the limits of the overhang of that short gouge. Move the tool rest up. Now this stuff's moving, man. If I was standing here, that would hurt. This oak's not the softest stuff. Had a lot of bark. I really don't want to be eating all that stuff. Ow. Even just eating that little bit of chip out hurt. Huh. It's interesting. Okay. That rim looks good. I can't tell of any noticeable checking. Is that checking? Well, we need to fix that rim anyways because we're going to clean up this bottom a little bit more. But I think we're good. We'll just go like this. And establish ourselves that rim. And then that will let us see how we want the bottom of the bowl. And then we can also clean up this bottom, so we know what everything's supposed to look like. Okay, when you start out with a much better blank, it really goes by a lot faster. You don't have to spend so much time working down the top, getting rid of checks, all that other stuff. You can just get on to the next piece. Okay, everything's looking good. Everything's looking good and serviceable. So what I'm going to do is establish the tenon and then just do the curve up to the rim, and we'll be done with this. I'm contemplating if I want to give it more of a 4-inch. You know what? After it's dried, we can go to 4-inch and step it down if we want to. I don't know if it translates well, but since this is below center, I don't go straight across. I kind of angle it up so that it'll be even width apart, and you get a more accurate design, shape, whatever. I won't go back to the 40-40 gouge for the tenon. I kind of screwed up. I was supposed to make that bigger. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll just make it for the tenon right now for the 5-inch jaws, and then when we go to turn it away, we'll use a 4-inch. Way overhung. We can leave material up there if we want to. Like if we wanted to have a bead up there or something kind of fun like that. The only thing we got to do is we make sure we come down and we soften the corners. So this one's going to be really interesting because it's like all sapwood, which has all that kind of spaghetti grain medullary rays of the live oak going on in it, and it's real light colored. Should be a pretty cool piece. Now these chainsaw cuts are wonky, man. Get this guy out of the way. These are way wonky. Turn this back down to the 500 range. So what you want to make sure is if you're playing like this, if you don't like this, hand thread it on. Don't do nothing you're not comfortable with. But when you go to do it, make sure that this is not your tool rest, your banjo, anything else does not become a pinch point. You do not want to get smacked doing this. That is way off center. That is a pretty ugly blank. I don't know what I was thinking. Probably the sun was going down, I was tired, and I just wanted to be done. Okay. That's pretty snug. This is going to be a shallow dish. Ooh-wee. That is way out of whack. Yep, it don't want to go much past 7. Uneven stuff out here, out at the outer edge. It's really out there. There's a lot of shadow stuff. That stuff coming down the flute hurts. I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but there's a good ½ inch of the rim out this way. I'll come back. And while I'm out here, let's clean that rim up a little bit. Now from here we can pretty much just pull cuts give you the nice big ribbons. You're using the wing instead of the nose, and it's much better for bulk removal. But as you can see, I keep wanting to go back to the push cut. That's normally how I turn. My shoulder there is kind of hard. Clean up the bottom. Oh yeah, I'm still running slow. That's fine, we'll just get a better view of that. And now this time, I will make a bigger tenon. smells pretty good. Con, that's not bad. I don't know how much this stuff moves. I may have took too much. I don't know, we'll find out. That's pretty good. I didn't want no hard edge on that. Well, let me make sure the top still looks decent. No. That's why you need to check. Yeah, that's not bad smelling wood, man. Hopefully it comes out good and then I end up liking pecan. It's got that kind of porous end grain like hickory does. It makes sense, it's a hickory. Yeah, but when you rub the bevel on there, man, it's toasted pecan. It's kind of cool. A little bit of sap. Man, how's the curve looking? I mean, we could leave that there and just let it dry. Which I think is what we're going to do. I'll just write that off as good. So you'll have a little bit of interesting stuff down in the bottom. Just a little bit, and the rest will be all sapwood. Okay, we got that pretty much gone. All right, cool. See how much faster these go when you start with a good blank. The first bowl took forever because we had to whittle away, and trying to find a usable blank underneath. But when you start with a good solid blank, it moves fast. Okay, I've already lost my train of thought and where I'm at, what I'm doing. Yeah. So, because I decided to turn a bowl instead of rough these guys out. So I hope I set this up for this jaws. Let's see if we can just dive right back into things. Yeah, we won't be able to keep that tenon once we go to reversing stuff. I can tell you that much right now. This tool is dull. Ooh. Okay, so I did not clean this rim up, and I should. Still. It needs to be sharpened too. That looks like that's probably a good thickness. Let me go sharpen. So what I'm trying to do is reprofile my gouges into asymmetricals, kind of like Richard and Tommy. See, I didn't give it a very deep, sharp wing. That's about all I sharpened. I don't even know where I'm at in there. Well, that wasn't tight. Pretty sure I could probably come out some more. A little bit. That's not bad. Live oak. Let's do this step first. Pecan. Oh yeah, and our problem child live oak. Dude, I made this tenon huge. This was right when I was getting back into it and warming up, I guess, man. Oh, look how much I got to waste away. The easiest way to get rid of all this is just peeling cuts. You come in like this, you're just fighting a wall of end grain. And this way you're peeling with the wing and you're just... Take it slower. As you get towards the middle, it's moving a lot slower. Okay, that's a little bit closer to where we were. So you heard that vibration. I was thinking maybe it was from this being dull already, but it was because I left the tool rest high from when I was using the scraper. This thing evidently ovaled quite a bit because it's making a lot of noise and vibration. Man, I have got to get a Richard Raffin style. I got to get a drill bit going. Spindle gouge really ain't cutting it. That should do it. I shouldn't bang it on the top. That could chew up the flute. Ooh. Okay, that's pretty much the bottom. See, I was running into that dull part of the wing. Trying to take off more than what I sharpened. It's starting to come back to me. I don't know how much this white, the post oak or live oak moves. We'll go right there. Soften those up. And then let's take the scraper and see where we're at. See, because it's kind of like a shallow bottom bowl. So this profile scraper is really good for just coming in here and removing material. It seems like I could go a little bit deeper. That feels better. That feels a lot better. All right. Okay. That's cool. Just a little ball in there. And that's got some great figure, man. So, what we have here, friends, is a live oak bowl, shallow. This is going to be a great everyday carry bowl. It's going to be fantastic. We've got pecan in the same profile. I love these profile bowls. They fit good in your hands and they put a lot of stuff in it. It's not the greatest for a salad bowl, but man, like meat, potatoes, rice and gravy, anything like that, I would totally go for this. And also, like I said, like a catch-all bowl. Ooh, man, these are heavy. These are definitely going to take some time to dry. And then kind of more of a traditional live oak. Maybe a beaded bowl at the top. The tiniest amount of heartwood that will probably get turned away once it dries. I probably need to seal these up tonight. Or at least what I'll do is I'll put these in a cardboard box with a bunch of their shavings until I can get out here. Bad habit. And get to it. So basically what I like for this cardboard box, Okay, so a cardboard box is semi-permeable. You know, it's not a water or an airtight seal, right? But that's not what we want. We want the moisture to slowly get away. But what this is good at is it's good for slow release of moisture, but it's not completely trapping it so that we don't get mold and mildew and funkiness. And Cody, no. Oh, my dog loves to shred cardboard boxes. He's been conditioned that that's kind of a treat. Probably not the best thing. So we'll just put these guys in here. In shavings. It keeps the airflow off of them, like moving air, like from a fan or wind or breeze. That's what really affects these bowls when they're drying out, is constant movement of air.